So don't take that.
We won't take the...
Yes, let's be the
Pods.
in Springfield.
Episode 51 of Pods.
In the key.
Of
Springfield. Did you briefly forget the name of this podcast?
No, I debated whether it was worth doing a joke about episode 51 of our podcast in which we discuss the thing that stops planes from rolling away. It's chocks in the key of Springfield.
Okay, that'll make sense once people get up to the sting, unless I've cut that out and turned it into its own episode, which was a subject of debate. Yeah, stick around for that. Stick around for Choc Chat.
Season 5, Episode 8, Boy-Scouts in the Hood. Season 5, Episode 9, The Last Temptation of Homer.
The Last Temptation of
Homer.
And Boy Scouts in the Hood, of course, the famous film that I should have looked up the details about before trying to launch into a joke about it. I believe it was... I think the original Scouts in the Hood, or... No, what was the name of that movie? Boys in the Hood?
I'm guessing it must have been Boys in the Hood.
I believe that the director of it was the youngest director to ever get nominated for Best Director of the Academy Awards.
Really?
That is the piece of info that I think might apply to that movie.
Boys in the Hood, a 1991 film.
Yep.
Who's
the director?
Director is John Singleton.
John Singleton. I think he was quite young when he made that
For
film.
the film, he was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Director, becoming the first African-American and youngest person to ever have been nominated for the award.
Okay, well, that's two significant things. Kind of crazy that it took till 1991 for an African-American person to get nominated for Best Director, but,
Are you suggesting America has a race issue?
I think I might be, Nick.
Are you suggesting that large parts of the world have a race issue?
I mean...
By extension?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Interesting hot take.
Yeah, well, there we go. We've got that out in the open now.
Yeah.
We've aired our controversial views that a lot of people in places are racist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dial it in, guys. Okay, so Boy Scouts in the Hood. This is the one where Bart becomes a member of the junior campers, and some shit happens. And
Sure.
it's really good. And we had a very fun time with it.
It's a great episode.
Oh, how we chortled. We chortled, we laughed, we gwarfed, maybe?
Gworf. Isn't that one of the fucking things from Star Trek?
Maybe. I've never seen Star Trek.
No, that's W-H-O-R-F. Wharf.
Yeah, that's just where you leave your boat. Or your boat, I suppose.
I left me boat in the wharf.
What the hell happened to my wharf?
The hell happened to my wharf?
So we open with Milhouse and Bart in an arcade, and we see Martin playing the arcade version of My Dinner with Andre, and this is the best thing in the world. And I love it, and it's so good. And also, Telltale Games, the company that sadly completely collapsed about a month ago, 2 months ago at this point. I feel like their entire development strategy from 2010 onwards was based on this arcade game.
Did I play any Telltale games after 2010? When did Stacking come out?
That was Double Fine. Fuck. That's a different game. Tim Schafer.
I see.
This was a different thing.
Okay, in that case, have I played anything by Telltale?
Okay, do you want me to run you through a list?
Yes,
Okay,
sure.
I also put that pen down. It makes a lot of clicking noises when I'm editing.
Yeah, I know, but I like fiddling with it.
Okay, so we got The Walking Dead,
No.
The Wolf Among Us.
No.
What else did they do? Batman. They did a Batman game about Batman. Going around saying, "Oh, I'm Batman over here. I'm going to stop the Joker."
I think I've watched someone play a little bit of that game, but I haven't played it myself.
Okay. What else did they do? Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, no.
No. You're arced up at that one.
Yeah.
Tales from the Borderlands?
Oh, was that the Borderlands DLC?
No.
No.
No, that was the adventure game. They're all the same game, basically. You go around and then you have dialogue options.
Wait, are they
and you
the Monkey Island people?
Yeah, they did the Monkey Island reboot, but that was 2007, 2008 or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, I see.
Did you play that?
No.
How many games could I have named that you would have said, oh yeah, I've played that? You play, what, like 7 games? You're fine?
Yeah, that's a good point. I do deep dives on games.
What a good episode this is.
So-
We got yep.
I was just going to say I enjoy the... were you going to talk more about Dinner with Andre?
No.
Okay. I enjoy...
Tell me more.
Here's a trenchant insight for you. Perhaps followed by a bon mot.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
It's still, I think it's one of the greatest tragedies of Australian music that Bon Mott died so soon.
Oh, shit.
He was never the singer. AC/DC was never the same.
Yeah, choked on his own vomit, didn't he?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, in his own car.
Or I don't know if it was his own car.
Okay.
Homer's very excited to find a $20 note because he's going to use it to buy more peanuts.
Yep,
But
$20 can buy many peanuts.
But he doesn't think about giving it to Marge so that she can go buy steaks that she just said she won't be able to afford.
Oh, shit.
Wouldn't he get more enjoyment from the steaks than from the peanuts?
I don't know. $20 can buy a lot of peanuts.
I'd say $20 is going to buy too many peanuts.
Potentially.
There's only there's only so many peanuts one man can have.
It doesn't seem like he's inclined to share the peanuts either.
No.
Seems like he simply wishes to purchase $20 worth of peanuts and then eat them, maybe go blind again.
Possibly.
Yeah, because we have Marge saying, I gotta buy dinner, and her saying money's too tight for steak. Part of the
Yes.
economic downturn that
Part
is
of the
largely in the background.
Part of the economic downturn. And yet, Homer rejoices in the fact that he finds $20. But in no way does he consider about using this windfall to for the betterment of those around him.
Speaking of windfalls, the wind blows it away, and it falls into Bart's lap.
Very
Trickle-down economics.
Jesus. You're right. It does work.
Yeah. So, what I love about the start of this episode is, do you remember, like, being a young, like, stupid kid? Like, how amazing it felt when you had any amount of money?
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you had $20 when you didn't previously have $20, it felt like such a fucking windfall.
Yeah, totally. And I remember, like, your birthday would come around and you get $20 and you pass out from joy thinking, fuck, look at all the things I could do.
Yeah.
Whereas now, $20, I can... I'm trying to think of a comical way to represent how jaded I've become. I don't want to say I could spend $20 on a coffee because I wouldn't. I could easily spend $20 on breakfast.
It used to be that $20 would buy you a pocket full of dreams with cash to spare to get your shoes shined. Now you can barely afford an Eggs Benedict.
It used to be that $20 could buy you a Johnny Cash album, a Steve Jobs product, and a Bob Hope pressing of a vinyl. But now, these days, 2018, they're all dead.
Yeah.
And their products are shit.
And, this was also the case 10 years ago, though. That's the tragic thing.
Well, yes, I suppose that is the case.
Yeah.
Not the case of
Jobs.
Jobs.
Yeah.
The case of Jobs. All syrup squishy. Can I talk about that?
Yeah.
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 Why does the squishy machine ding like a microwave at the end of the making of the all syrup squishy?
Because it's done microwaving.
Nope. The whole point of those machines is that the machine doesn't know when it's ready. It depends on the viscosity of the liquid, the size of the cup. Apu's the one in control of that. He's the one controlling the lever.
It does seem like I don't know, like the machine has a lot of dials and levers and notes on it. Like it seems like a pretty advanced squishy machine.
Yeah.
Here's a question that I had during this scene.
Sure.
At what point in the course of The Simpsons did the squishy become iconic? Because the squishy is kind of an iconic product, that we associate with The Simpsons. But I feel like at what point did viewers of The Simpsons start to think, oh, the squishy, that's like an iconic product that I would like to get a sticker of and put on my laptop or whatever the fuck?
I feel like it was probably around this episode. Because this episode uses the squishy as the catalyst, if you will.
Yeah.
For the main narrative drive.
But it's kind of funny that squishy is now like an iconic fake brand.
Yeah, that's really...
It's just like a
an interesting
slushie.
point.
There's not really anything that magical about it.
Do you remember that we had slushies in the canteen at our high school?
Yeah.
Does that seem fucking bizarre to you now?
Does it?
To me, it's like... And look, I know that lots of people complain about like, oh, school canteens only have healthy food in them now. Yeah, that's a really good idea. I am so in favour of canteens having healthy food.
You know, it used to be that you'd be able to take $20 to your canteen. You get a slushie, you get a Johnny Cash album, you get a big bag of chips, you get a 3-litre Coke. You'd get like an iPod Nano.
But the idea of just like, oh, what should we give all these school kids? I don't know. What about a big cup of frozen sugar water? That seems very strange to me.
Yeah. I mean, if I feel like there'd be some schools where like out the back you'd be able to like get some cocaine or something, but we didn't have that.
Yeah, but I mean, at least... Am I about to say cocaine's healthier than pies?
She don't lie, she don't lie, she don't lie, as far as I'm concerned.
She don't lie, she don't lie, she don't lie. She moves mysterious cocaine.
I say.
That's where my brain went, and why I kind of had a paralyzed moment of deciding whether or not that was worth entering into.
Speaking of songs and dance.
Songings. Correct conjugation of the verb.
Okay, do you remember that Simpsons album was called Songs in the Key of... I forget the rest of it.
Yeah,
But
what is that called?
I used to have that album, and it had this scene on it, leading into Springfield. Springfield is a hell of a town. The schoolyard's up and the shopping mall's down. The stray dogs go to the animal pound. Springfield. New York.
What?
Now, I used to have that album.
Yeah, and that gave me a phrase I like to use all the time.
It had the, before leading into that song, it had the scene...
The skit.
Yeah, it had the little skit, $20 can buy many peanuts, and then it had them drinking the squishy.
Yeah.
Now, I played this CD over and over again. I loved it so, and it started to get a little funky around this part. It started to skip a bit. So, the bit where Bart drinks the squishy and starts to freak out sometimes got really stretched out and weird when I would play it.
Sick.
So in my head, I have a very clear soundbite of that scene, but stretched out and even weirder and more of Bart freaking out. And I enjoy that.
That's
nice
interesting.
little memory.
What's it like, Bart? Bart.
I enjoy the way Milhouse does this really weird pronunciation of thick. It's so thick. It's
THICC.
Yeah, but it's not even that. There's some extra vowels in there. Thick. I've always enjoyed that pronunciation.
I really enjoy the foley of them sucking down on that squishy. Really good sucking noises.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't know how much further I want to go down that road.
How do you think the Foley artist created those noises, James?
I imagine they just kept sucking.
That's good advice there. I've just got a note that says there's a lot of good stuff in here. That's uncharacteristically positive for me. I'm going to cross that note out.
Just tear the page in
don't like
two
that.
and walk away.
Can you edit that bit out, James?
Did you notice when they're having their all-night squishy bender, at one point they get a bunch of chewing gum or bubble gum?
Bubble gum.
Did you notice the brand of the bubble gum?
No, what was the brand?
Toothless Joe gum, and the guy on the package was
the guy with old
Gummy
jumper.
Joe. Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Wouldn't have old Chompy here, that's for sure. So he's either moving up in the world or he is using his unique aesthetic to form an iconic brand. And really, isn't that what we're all trying to do in this modern world? Oh, fuck, we actually are, aren't we?
I guess so.
Oh, my God. That really hit me as I was saying. It's like, are we all trying to build an aesthetic brand? I'm like, oh, fuck, that is actually what life is like now.
So
what a nightmare.
At what point did he stop working in the nuclear power plant and start becoming a bubblegumman?
Well, maybe bubblegum is his side gig.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, though.
Were you ever any good at blowing bubbles with bubblegum?
I was garbage at it.
Yeah, so
Although I wasn't much of a gum guy. Every now and again I'd get like the Bubble-O Bill, but I don't feel like that was good bubble gum.
No, that was terrible
Yeah.
bubblegum. I think the freezing did something to the bubblegum that ruined it.
Yeah, I don't think you meant to freeze bubble gum.
No, and I also think that like the only time that I ever got like a good bubble with a bubble gum, specifically a Hubba Bubba bubble gum.
Oh, yeah.
I've got a photo somewhere, not on this phone, actually it might be on my Facebook, of a cordial I once saw, and the flavour was called Gubble Bum.
double bum.
Yeah, it was.
I don't think you need to find the photo to prove that to me.
Probably not.
I can take it as a given that you found some gobble bum.
Double bum. Always be paying attention. That's my advice, because you never know what little silly things you might say.
Speaking of paying attention and seeing things wrong.
But the only time I was ever able to successfully blow bubbles with the Hubba Bubba bubble gum was when I would have like 3 or 4 of the little squares of it.
So you had to really game the system.
I had to really game the system.
Okay.
I think it's actually a technique by them to sell more bubblegum.
Yeah.
Because they sell you the illusion that you can blow a successful
Just make
bubble
it
with one.
unbubbleable, and then it's very difficult to bubble. You have to...
No, I'm not talking about Bubble Bill, James.
You got to cram your whole mouth full of gum.
Yes, cram your whole mouth.
I was always really worried about swallowing the gum. You know, people tell you swallow that gum, it's stuck in your system forever.
But on what basis? Surely you just shit it out like you do everything else.
Yeah, almost certainly. But I was a child, and I believed people when they said, "Oh,
Yeah,
it's
right.
going to stay in your stomach forever if you swallow it."
That's
But
gonna,
you can basically,
that's gonna grow into a cherry tree.
but you can basically swallow anything, and it's fun.
Yes.
Yeah, the body will just sort it out.
Correct extension of that point, yes.
So speaking of paying close attention and then, missing things and getting things wrong, there is a montage here where we see Apu laughing while a bunch of signs flash in the background.
Yes.
And there's a sign that just says pop.
Pop.
And as we were watching, I said, Nick, did that sign say poop? And I had to rewind to make sure it didn't say poop. So I would have looked like quite the fool. Well, I did look like quite the fool, I suppose. In that the sign did not say poop.
Yeah, and
But there was a moment where I believed.
Can I say I'm not a fan of adults using the word poop?
You're not a big fan of poop?
No, ditch the second P. I cannot stand
You prefer poo to poop?
much.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Look, I think you either need to make it vulgar or make it just like the correct terminology. Either you call it feces or you call it shit. That's my stance. I don't like poo. I'm not crazy on poop, but I prefer it to poo. Poo is a child's word to me.
See, I feel that with poop. I think poop exists in a Venn diagram of Australians using Americanisms and Australians using infantile language, and I don't like the middle of that Venn diagram. But it's interesting that you think poo is the more childish one.
For sure. Okay, run these 2 sentences. Okay, Daddy, I need to take a poop. Daddy, I need to take a poo. Which one is being said by a child?
The first one.
Really?
Yep.
To me, it's the second one.
Yep.
Oh, this is
It was great because as you started that, I'm like, it's very unlikely that an A/B comparison is going to change the way I've viewed these words my entire life.
Okay, well, how about let's do another one, okay?
I think.
Okay,
Jesus. I think it's because American kids TV shows is the only place I heard the word poop when I was growing up.
Okay, so Daddy, I need to take a poo, wee wee wah wah, or excuse me, Mr. Symington, I need to drop out of this meeting for a moment to take a poop.
Symington.
Yeah, Mr. Symington.
That's my takeaway from this. Was he born in a town called Symington?
Was he born in the town called Symington?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
I don't know. I just wanted to parachute my way out of this conversation.
I never quite got this squishy bender until years later when I started drinking, and now I get it.
Yeah.
That's what it's like.
Yeah.
Sometimes you join the Scouts.
How many times have you joined the Scouts or the Happy Campers or the Junior Campers?
I was actually going to ask if you ever been a member of any sort of scouting organisation.
I do not participate.
I was a Cub for a year or 2, I think.
Yeah, right.
I was a part of the Cubs. I
met your bear. He was a lovely guy. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. Okay. I was in the Cubs, and I don't feel like I really took much away from it. I got my collecting badge.
Is that what you say? I was about to say, so you didn't steal anything from the Cubs, and yet you got your collection badge. So you must have amassed a collection of something, and then just left it there on the premises, instead of taking it away.
Sure, that's how it works.
Sorry, I was very amused then, because I was going to make a stupid wordplay, and then your next sentence fed into the narrative of my wordplay. So I was very much enjoyed by that.
Every now and then we would go ice blocking, where you get a giant block of ice, and you put like a Hessian sack on it, and you just fucking hurl yourself down a hill. On the ice block.
I mean, that kind of sounds like the opening scene of Frozen, so I'm kind of into it. did you all sing in a deeply baritone voice while doing the ice blocking stuff?
Yeah, is that a thing that happens in Frozen?
In the opening scene of Frozen with the ice harvesters, they're singing the Frozen Heart song.
It's been a while since I've seen Frozen.
I've started that too low. Frozen Heart. No, that's not working. That's the wrong range for me.
Sometimes we would go and collect yabbies from the creek.
Sure. We should possibly point out that yabbies is a type of crustacean.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those words that could sound like a slur, but it's not. It's the name of a crustacean.
I mean, like, if anyone's listened this far, wouldn't it just be a fucking wild left turn?
Wild turn.
If suddenly I started admitting that my scout troop was committing some sort of racial genocide?
Yeah, that would be wow, these two guys who are relatively woke, sometimes a little performatively so, have all of a sudden taken an extreme fucking turn. You seem tickled by the fact I suggested we're sometimes performatively woke.
I just like the idea that this is like a grievance you have with the podcast and you're raising it now.
Oh no, I'm all on board with it. I would rather be performatively woke than the other way around.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I was wondering, based on some of the stuff we've seen in this episode, what's SpongeBob the Old Folks Day like at your work?
My question is, where did Bart sign up for the Happy Campus? Because it seems to be run at the school.
Yeah.
And he signed up while he was out on the town on an all-night bender.
Is Flanders running some sort of nighttime outreach?
I wouldn't have thought so.
It's the only real possible explanation, though, isn't it?
Because,
He could be like that green team you see in Adelaide who wander around, like, shaming people for being drunk late at night.
fuck, they're hopeless. Remember that one time when we were actually in the middle of a medical emergency?
Yep.
Because a very drunk guy decided to parkour his way off a second-story staircase.
Yeah, that dickhead.
Only to realise he could not parkour and broke both of his ankles at the same time.
So to be clear, the green team is a Christian organisation locally who go to events or out on nights where there's likely to be a lot of people drinking and partying, and ostensibly they're there to, like, try to help people and, give them more to deal with things. In effect, every time I've seen them in action, what they really do is just sort of shame the person who has been drinking and then piss off again.
Yeah.
I'm sure, not everyone is like that, but in my experience, that is what I have witnessed.
So for Australians that haven't come across it, imagine a bunch of people in a t-shirted uniform walking around schoolies saying things like, "Oh, is everyone all right here? No one's getting too far out of control, are they?" Or Americans apply that same thing to Spring Break, and you get pretty much the idea of what they're like.
Yeah, or Spring Breakers, which is a great film that we saw in the cinema together.
Break.
Look at all my shit.
I got shorts in every colour.
But these green team people came up to him and said, "Oh, looks like your friend's having a bit of a hard night." We're like, "Yeah, he actually is. Like, we think he's broken his ankle."
He's broken both of his ankles.
Yeah.
Can you help us flag down a taxi because he doesn't have ambulance cover to get to the hospital? Oh, no, that's not really something we can do. What?
Seems very easily actionable. I mean, there's a line of taxis right over there.
Yeah.
We don't want to move because we don't want to leave this guy abandoned with a broken ankle.
Exactly. Can you please help us flag something down? Oh, try to have a good night, guys. Fucking green tape.
Useless.
What was the lead into that?
Who cares?
All right. And a phrase that's always annoyed me when the bullies discover Bart's little Happy Campers uniform.
Campers, pampers.
Yeah. I find the use of pamper as a noun very strange.
Yeah?
Isn't pamper an adjective that means a verb that means to care for and look after?
I believe so.
So to turn pamper, the verb meaning to care for and look after, or to spoil, I suppose,
Sure.
into a noun that means clothing, that's a stretch for
Did we
me.
investigate this to make sure that this isn't a word with multiple meanings, or there's not like a homonym or at play here?
I'll do it right now.
Okay, you're going to do your due diligence?
Homophone, I think you might find.
Whatever, it's fine. Everything's fine.
Hey, just to be clear, I correct you so that the internet doesn't have to.
I know.
Pampers meaning. Translations and more definitions. Oh, fuck. This is an... Oh. So before I've got some more digging to do. Pamper, verb. Third person present. Pampers. Indulge with every attention, comfort and kindness. It comes from Low German and Dutch, meaning From the Low German and Dutch pamper, meaning cram with food.
Good.
Why does that make me laugh so much? Oh, I have a huge dictionary right at your feet, and yet I'm looking it up on here.
Because you don't want to get up and get a huge dictionary. You've got a phone in your hand right now.
Remember the time I threw it away on the pod? That was fun.
Yeah.
Pampers meaning noun. No, I can't find a noun version.
Well, there we go. We beat it. We beat The Simpsons.
We beat The Simpsons. Here I am proving that once again I am smarter than some animated bullies.
So Bart learns that if he sticks with the junior campers and he wears his campers pampers, he is going to get a knife.
Yes.
And we get a lovely little montage about how good knives are.
Oh, it's a beautiful montage.
It is wonderful. During this montage, when we see Hibbert cutting out the appendix of this man and throwing it out,
Yeah.
I remember seeing this as a kid and kind of thinking, this is what happened if your appendix burst. It literally exploded.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Did you at any point turn your mind to what the explosive fuel was?
I'm afraid I never considered the accelerant that might be contained in my appendix.
Good use of accelerant.
Yeah. This is a good pair of episodes for the bullies. They get a lot to do.
Yeah, the bullies it's really their time to shine.
Yeah, they really put in a lot of good work across these two episodes. Really get it done, you know?
It's a real bully hall of fame.
Yeah, I was proud of these kids by the end of this pairing.
Proud of the bullies.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Here's a grievance that I have.
Sure.
With a line that people really love in this episode.
Sure.
Don't do what Donnie don't does is not that unclear.
Yeah, it is actually quite clear.
Yeah. Don't do what kid does.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess for a 10-year-old boy who has some learning difficulties, despite being a genius,
Yes.
Mem saying Bart, Rabbi has
Yeah,
Memo.
Rabbi has Memo. Yeah.
It is a lot of opposites, I suppose.
But for our generation, don't do what Donnie don't does has become the stand-in for like an overly complicated or unnecessarily wordy
Yes.
or difficult piece of phrasing.
Hello, I'm unnecessarily wordy.
Don't do what I do.
No, but you're right, because if it's ever, if there's ever a particularly complex direction,
Yeah.
it's always, don't do what Donnie don't does.
And then we see a little montage of
What did Donnie Darko do? Can we do what Donnie Darko did?
Donnie Darko picked something of Pepper's.
Picked a dick of Dickle Deckers? Is that what you were going with that?
Dick of Death. No.
Yeah. Right, okay, fair enough.
Let's see. Donnie Darko. He saw Frank the bunny. He said, "What's with that stupid bunny suit?" And Frank said, "What's with that stupid man suit?" I like that movie. When I saw it, haven't rewatched it for a long time.
See,
Feel like I'm not going to. Feel like I'd rather just keep it in my mind that I liked that movie. You know,
keep it in your mind.
keep it in my mind,
Hell happened to my mind.
in my mind palace.
Oh, a palace now.
Yeah.
Wow. Better than the fucking brain hovel I've got going on over here.
So when we see this montage of Bart like learning how to stitch and learning about knots and doing all this stuff, I started to think, should I learn how to do more stuff? Should I learn things? Should I become better educated?
Do you mean in a theoretical and knowledge-based sense, or in a practical sense?
I'm going to say practical.
Yeah. See, I think because I've talked about this on the podcast before. I knit.
Yeah.
I started that 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And then, but I noticed that around that time, some of my other friends also started doing other practical things. Like a couple of them also took up knitting, but then I've got a friend who suddenly became really into woodwork, and he makes like these cool little chopping boards that have like checkerboard patterns on them, and he like stains them and
That's neat.
Yeah, and like I feel like there was just this weird little craft revolution, and I now see friends of mine who, my friends who have gone on to have kids, they've got into the visible mending trend of if there's a big rip in a pant that renders the pant unpantable, rather than throw it away, you patch it up old school style so that the patch in and of itself becomes a design feature.
Oh, yeah.
And it just like this weird explosion in the last four or 5 years where I go, oh, we've all picked up these practical skills. And I guess what I'm saying here is, why the fuck haven't you?
I feel like the main thing that I've learned in the last year and a half or so is how to produce and edit a podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Not a particularly transferable skill, as it turns out, but it's good.
I mean, you could go into doing production for spoken word albums. Maybe
Sure, if Ira Glass is out there and would like to get in contact.
Maybe the guy we talked about last time, the BBC guy.
BBC guy?
Remember the one who tells the stories like this?
Oh, that guy.
Auntie Vera slipped over on some sick. Him.
That's so funny. Oh, Auntie Vera, if you're out there, get in contact. Let us know that you're okay.
So you could do some spoken word recordings for him, I suppose. I'm not sure I'd trust you with a full band yet. I think your mixing and your editing is pretty good.
If any full bands are out there, though, and would like to...
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you play your music, and I'll come in and I'll make it better.
Yeah. Okay. Pop quiz to see if you to see what you know about music. The percussive things that someone sits behind and hits with a stick. What are they?
The percussive, alto saxophone.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay.
Famously played by Neil Peart in the band Rush.
Very good. What instrument did Jimi Hendrix play?
Trick question. You're thinking about Tom York. He sings.
Oh, that's yes. You're doing surprisingly well. Final question.
Yep.
This is no time to sing the South Park theme song. Final question. What year did Revolver come out?
69.
In the
summer of 69.
Yes, in the summer of 69.
Nice.
Zinc your sniffer. I really enjoyed the way Flanders looks in that scene.
Oh, you're jumping forward a little bit here.
I know, but I just wanted to look at what my next note was.
Okay, I got a question here. You know, there's a scene where they're watching Itchy and Scratchy, and Homer walks past outside.
I wrote the Impy and Chimpy.
Yeah, well, Lisa's saying, cartoons don't need to make sense. We see Homer walking past.
Yes.
Now, I've always written that off as a funny little animation gag, but is it possible that this Homer has actually escaped from one of the other dimensions that we're pretty sure exists within the world of The Simpsons?
I absolutely think it is, because I've heard...
Do you look a little eggy to you?
I've heard people say... James, this is no joke. I've heard people say that it's funny that Lisa says it doesn't need to make sense and then Homer walks past, as if those two events are somehow connected. All Lisa's saying is that cartoons shouldn't be held to a high level of scrutiny.
It's simply as a fact of information.
Because they're silly little vehicles.
information.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because they're silly little vehicles for simple little stories.
Yeah, like the Flintstones car.
What? Yes.
Silly vehicle.
For a bunch of simple little stories, the Flintstones.
Wilma!
And what was Barney and Betty's? The Rubbles.
Yeah.
The Flintstones and the Rubbles. That was good, Barney.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice. Can you do a Bam Bam?
Bam Bam, it's me. I'm Bam Bam.
Oh, that's pretty fucking good too.
Get with it.
Oh, it's so strange to think that little Bam Bam grew up to be that skater guy and one of the Jackass crew.
Bam Margera?
Yes. Yes. That's the joke that I was very loosely stretching for. What was the other kid in the Flintstones called?
There was Bam Bam and Rocksteady.
There was...
And Krang.
No, it wasn't Krang. Wasn't it called, like, Baby Bullshit or something?
Baby Bullshit.
Pebbles.
Baby Bullshit. Do.
Pebbles.
Pebbles.
Yes.
Something you don't want to get caught in your shoe.
What? Well, yeah, because then you'd be stepping on a child.
Okay, so we firmly established that this Homer is crossed over from another dimension.
Oh, yes, he's well and truly an omelette egg flip Homer.
Yeah, just
He's
a little
there-
nod to us.
He's there
more
just
than anything.
sauntering around the other dimension saying,
Yeah.
oh, I wonder if there's any donuts in here, boo-boo.
Yeah, he's come here to look for Ernest Borgnine. In
yes.
fact, the final scene right at the end where something bursts out at the summer camp to kill Ernest Borgnine and the other children.
Could that
Oh,
be...
that's the Homer. That's
that
the
be the-
alternate
that's-
dimension Homer.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we have to consider that as canon at this point.
That's a really... Yeah.
We're on to you guys. Whoever's listening to this, if they're affiliated.
Oh, no one affiliated is listening to this. We're lucky to even have people with an Amazon affiliate link listening to this.
Yeah, if anyone would like to buy things from my Amazon affiliate link, we'll work on getting one.
I don't think they do them in Australia.
No?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to retract my previous statement then about the Amazon affiliate link.
Because there's one podcast I listen to that's often talking about their affiliate link, but they always say, unless you're shopping through the Australian portal for Amazon, because then...
Because we have the actual Australian version of Amazon now,
which doesn't have any of the products that the other one does. Anyway.
This episode is so quotable.
Yes! The sea captain! Captain Kevin McAllister.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. That line not only infuses my brain, but it infuses my heart.
Yes.
It's
informed who you are on a fairly fundamental level.
Absolutely informed who I am on a fundamental level. Just going from deep enthusiasm to just, I don't know what I'm doing.
One of my favorite scenes is when Bart is imagining what it's going to be like having Homer on the rafting trip, and he imagines the one kid saying, "What an oaf!"
Yes,
I love "What an oaf" kid.
That is good.
He's one of my guys.
Yeah,
it's him and like Sam Kinison and
there are no norms.
Damon Wayans.
There are no norms on this camping trip, are there?
No. Ooh, are there?
Are there?
I wasn't on my Norman watch.
It's been a while since we've checked in on Norman watch.
It's been a while. Yeah, I kind of I lapsed on my Norman watch.
Interesting.
But look, it's a strong possibility that Norman was one of the parents. All the parents disappear. We get Ernest Borgnine with some kids later on. None of the other parents seem to be with them.
Yeah. Have they all also been eaten by bears or Eggflip Homers?
Swept away out to sea, possibly?
Possibly by Eggflip Homers?
I mean, yeah.
Pushed out to sea by Eggflip Homers?
Pushed out to sea by Eggflip Homers. It's not a song. Let's see.
It's not even a parody of a song.
No. Just the lyrics to what the song would be.
It's not even a semblance of an idea.
Water everywhere, so let's all have a drink. Has, in my mind, completely superseded water everywhere, but not a drop to drink.
That's potentially dangerous if you find yourself stuck at sea.
Yeah. Which, look, if I ever get stuck at sea, I'm fucked anyway. Like, I'm going to die. I'm not optimistic about my chances at sea.
What was that movie that came out about those two people that were stuck at sea? No. Fuck. Jesus. Those two people that were stuck at sea, and it was like a real-time... It was open water, maybe?
Yeah, open water.
And it was a real-time movie of like 2.5 hours with these people just...
It was only like 85 minutes.
Yeah,
it sucked.
But I remember...
Titanic was better.
Yeah, I've seen Titanic. I haven't seen Open Water.
I'm flying, Jack.
But I remember someone was...
I'm flying, baby.
Telling me about... They were telling me about the premise of the film Open Water.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, if I was ever stuck out in the middle of the ocean like that, I'd probably just go under and fill my lungs with water and kill myself. And my girlfriend at the time was like, well, what about me? And I'm like, oh, sorry, are you out in the middle of the ocean with me as well? She's like, yeah, you jerk. I'm like, well, sorry, I didn't realise that you were here. Oh, okay, well, I guess.
Well, then I would use your body as a flotation device.
Yeah. I'd use your body like the door from Titanic, the only survivalist movie I've seen to date.
The only survivalist movie. That's a really funny lens to be Titanic through.
Oh, dear.
That'd be great if the poster was exactly the same, but like the catchphrase or the slogan on the front was like "Only one may live" or something like that. To save the one he loves, he would take the ultimate sacrifice.
Yes.
Yeah. Good movie.
Are we ready to go on to the next episode?
No, I've still got some notes for this one. I know we're going long. I'll try to run through this. Okay, one thing I really wanted to say about this that really stood out to me in this episode is how much old episodes of The Simpsons rely on visual abstraction in a way that I don't think a show could get away with these days.
Interesting.
Like, we were talking about the rations that they are eating on the boat, and they're just like indeterminate sticks. You don't know what they are.
Indeterminate sticks of grey mush.
Yeah. And later on, there's a scene where the bear is attacking Ernest Borgnine and the kids, and like you look at the background and the kids' relation to the background, it's very abstract.
Yes.
It looks like an episode of Ren and Stimpy. Like there's this sort of abstraction. I feel like since art has mostly gone digital and we're in the HD era now, you can't get away with that sort of thing, but it works perfectly fine.
It's a really interesting
in these old episodes where, you know, we can sort of visually fill in the gaps of what we're not seeing.
But the funny part about that is there is a level of that kind of abstraction in The Simpsons. But if you go back and look at old, like, Hanna-Barbera cartoons, there are entire 5-minute episodes that don't have a single background. It's just characters walking in front of a variously changing gradient.
Yeah, like, it would just be like shapes in the background.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Like, the level of abstraction then was so ridiculous.
Yeah, but even here, like, you know, they just use what I would call visual shorthand to just fill in.
Sure.
For what, you know, what we imagine is actually happening.
It's a really interesting point.
Works with how hard and ridiculous, you know, everything is.
What was that also a side effect of? Because were VCRs around by this point? What is that? I mean, okay, I was going to say it was maybe a side effect of. You know, these are going to be a one and done type of thing with occasional reruns, but on much smaller TVs than what we're watching it on now.
Well, for the most part, they would be. Like, not many people are taping the show and rewatching them, I imagine. Bit of a hassle.
Yeah, and so at that point, it's like, well, what's the point in putting all this fine detail in the background when it's going to be not noticed anyway? Especially on the old postage stamp sized TVs that people used to use. If anything, they were too small, comically small postage stamp. It was very small.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, just a tiny little screen. You'd have to hold it right up into your face. It was burning hot.
Burning hot.
Yeah, it would sear the flesh from your bones. Now,
Are you talking about a fire poker now?
Fuck, that's right. Yeah, I thought Roseanne was, you know, a little too hot for me to handle at that age, but now I realise.
I see.
Yeah. Now, my final question.
Yeah.
How long are these cats at sea for? Because it seems like they're getting real ragged out there, and they eat all the food, and they seem on the brink of death.
See,
real fast.
This is tricky because on the one hand, there are two.
To rock a rhyme. That's right on time. It's tricky.
Tricky. Sure.
SSX tricky. Good game.
Sure. Bonfunk MCs, great band.
Yeah.
No, so there are two pieces of information we can use to compare and contrast how long they've been out at sea for.
Okay.
The episode in which Marge kicks Homer out and he goes to live in the treehouse, his clothes become ragged overnight.
Yeah.
So what we know from this is Exhibit A. What we know from this is that because of the economic downturn in Springfield, the Simpsons can only afford very shoddy clothing. Clothing which can perhaps only be worn once in what I think is probably a false economy of trying to save money.
Yes.
Buy one pair of jeans that you can wear for at least a year instead of buying a new pair of jeans every day because your clothing turns ragged. So, on the one hand, they've been there for at least one night. On the other hand, when they find the offshore oil rig Krusty Burger and Homer's pointing to the map, they're off the coast of Pennsylvania. Now, as we discovered, 5 or 6 episodes ago, the Simpsons are probably in southern Texas.
Yes.
To get from southern Texas to Pennsylvania, you have to go all the way around Florida, which I believe is sometimes called America's Wang.
Yep.
All the way around and then up and up and up and up and up. It's like 3, 4, 5 states up. They've been floating in that life raft for quite some time. Perhaps almost as long as the dad in Richie Rich in his life craft.
The dad in Richie Rich?
Yeah.
The one who had his own McDonald's in the house?
They get stuck in a life raft.
Do they?
Yeah.
In the movie, or is there...
Yeah, because that's the scene with Richie turns on the dad tracker, the huge big screen. It comes up with Dad not found. Dad not found. Dad not found. Because the beacon doesn't work because he's out in the middle of the ocean.
Okay.
On a life raft.
How did they... Okay, was he just planted with a GPS? Was that what was happening in that film?
No, he had a beacon in his briefcase, I think, but he was too far away from signal.
Okay, so they've drifted for like a month then.
For like a Richie Rich amount of time, yes. Yeah. A month, yeah.
That is Richie Rich, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So those are my thoughts. They've either been out in the wild blue ocean for a day or perhaps in excess of a month.
This episode is wonderful and it fucks.
It is.
Yes.
Season 5, Episode 9, Last Temptation of Homer.
Starring Willem Dafoe as Homer.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
There's
Willem Dafoe as Mindy.
There's a lot of reports about Willem Dafoe on the set of The Last Temptation of Christ, a movie I have not seen, but I have on DVD somewhere.
Sure.
Where, he's wearing very little clothing in that movie, and apparently there was an issue where his dick would keep just sort of flopping out.
Now...
Apparently it's a big old dick.
Right.
Yeah. He's very good in the Florida Project.
I
what
see.
are you drawing there?
I drew a 5 and then crossed it out.
Okay.
So, I guess my concern about that anecdote
Yep.
is, given now what we know about stars generally being as terrible as everyone else, was he setting that up on purpose?
I don't think so.
You sure?
I think it was I think he would come in and it's like, oh man, I'm up here on this fucking cross. Like, how is he going to be doing that up on a cross?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I'm just concerned to know whether he is DeFriend or Defoe.
Okay. To me, he is Willem Dafoe, who is my friend.
I see. Well, don't do what Donnie Defoe does.
Could have made that clear.
Thank you. Bart's plan to reduce all the parking spaces by 1 foot is geniusly devilish.
Yeah, but it also does... I can't figure out the logistics of this. Doesn't make any sense to me.
How so?
Like, is he... Like,
I think you're
repainting the entire parking lot?
The entire parking lot, yes.
Okay, so this is an extremely complicated plan then.
Extremely
Because
complicated.
to me, I thought that his plan was simply to somehow, either thicken the lines of the existing park or just,
sure.
shift them, in a way that would involve, frankly, a lot of calculus to figure out. But if he's repainting the entire parking lot...
My understanding of that joke is that he's blacked out all the lines and he's painted new ones.
Okay. That would make more sense if the parking lot didn't have lines to begin with, which is a possibility, but the way he frames it suggests that he has intentionally lessened the size of each.
Yes.
I feel like if we had a parking lot that didn't have parking spaces, which a teacher's parking lot might not,
Sure.
then that would make more sense.
Yeah. I think at that point, if that was the case, though, the teachers would have been going in saying, what the hell's going on with these lines? Whereas Krabappel specifically says, I'm in the lines. So the line it's common to them that the lines are there. It's just that little buddy boy has come along and
Your voice going to drop
contracted them. Yeah, my voice. I might quickly get refill my glass of water.
I do like in that little scene where we see all the teachers honking their horns and everything. You just hear what's her face, Mrs. Hoover, just say, "I'm stuck."
Yeah, I know. Oh wait, I shouldn't continue conversing while on this far away.
I'm going to refill my water as well. Fuck. Sweet water. I got good time. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you see, yes, I really enjoy the way that Miss Dyson says, I'm stuck in this...
Miss Dyson?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a vacuum joke.
Have I talked about my issue with the words continuum and vacuum?
Yes, you have.
Yep, good.
On this podcast.
Good. And on the shit pub crawl. Yes, but she says it in this really kind of like, I am about to have a panic attack, but don't want to let it show yet.
Yeah.
I'm stuck.
Yes.
It's good.
And then we cut to the power plant, where actually we have some other stuff, but we cut to the power plant eventually, and Homer kills a man.
Yep. Homer literally kills a man while playing a prank.
Yes. The man is dead.
Dead.
Yeah.
And he nearly killed himself and 3 other men.
Yeah. If you don't remember this specific scene, Homer
pulls out a gun.
Yeah, Homer and his good time buddies are watching a man operating some sort of machinery in a little room. There's some toxic materials, and Homer says, "Oh, I'm Homer. Watch what I'm going to do." And he gets this little mechanical hand thing, and he operates it so it pinches the guy in the butt, which is harassment, and then he drops this case of something, and this gas pours out and immediately kills the man.
Immediately kills the man.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, I mean, that's never dealt with.
No. I mean, this isn't the most that Homer will kill. Because, of course, there's your favourite scene where he blows up the candy convention.
Yes. We are going to get to that next season. He does kill an entire convention center full of people.
I'm going to use the phrase lolly festival rather than candy convention, but that's because I'm weird.
Lolly festival.
Yes.
So one of Homer's friends, I forget the guy's name, but he goes to report to Mr. Burns that they need real safety exits.
A real emergency exit, because the emergency exit's painted on.
And Mr. Burns sucks the man up through a tube, which transports him to India,
Yes.
where he is dropped on a table and commanded to dance.
Yes. While several Indian men clap and scream.
Now let's try to unpack this a little bit, because I don't know what I'm looking at here. And I know that I've always found this scene very funny.
Yes.
I know that probably, it's a little weird.
It's a very unflattering depiction.
Yep.
My main concern is how long have they all been sitting there?
Yeah.
Because Burns says that he doesn't know where the tube goes, and Smithers says he hasn't been able to figure it out either, giving me the impression that it's not a commonly used tube. And yet, when Old Mate pops through on the other side, there's 8 guys sitting there in a circle, ready to clap along and dance. How long have they all been sitting there? To me, it reminds me of the Uncharted video games.
The Uncharted video games.
Where you, as Drake, will go through all these, twisty little passages, solving problems that haven't been solved for hundreds of thousands of years.
Hanging out with Sully.
Doing all these irreversible things like flooding rooms so that the floor floats and then you can get to the secret path. And then you get there and there's just 150 guys in there with guns. And it's like, what the fuck? I did the irreversible thing. How did you all... Oh, there's a back entrance?
Oh, there's the tube. Just shooting them all in. Yeah, I enjoyed this as just a piece of just pure Dadaism, I think. Just
pure absurdist bullshit.
Yep. Just a joke that usually would not survive the writer's room, but has made it through unscathed.
Yes.
And it's just really funny as like a very specific vision.
Especially because when they go to see... I know I'm skipping ahead, but when they go to see Hibbert in his new hospital thing, and he says, "You do have insurance, don't you?" And then he hits a button and a tube starts coming down, leading me to believe that perhaps it's not an uncommon tube. Perhaps there are multiple tubes around Springfield that lead to this one dancing table.
The suggestion of Springfield having a tube culture, I'm very on board with.
Tube culture.
Now, my thing is, though, I don't know that Hibbert's tube also leads to that table.
That's a good point. It might lead to a different place entirely. It might not even lead to a table, James. It might lead to some other bit of furniture.
Maybe it's leading
to a credenza.
To another dimension.
What?
Maybe this is one of the ways you can... Maybe that's how the alternate Homer got to their world.
Huh. Through the Hibbert tube.
Yeah. Or, maybe Monroe has a tube.
Fuck.
Maybe Colossus has a tube.
Do you think there's a tube going into the Monroe box?
Oh, I doubt it. I don't think he wants the kid to get out of there.
That's a good point.
I feel like if there was a tube in the Monroe box, it would simply lead to the Monroe box in another dimension.
Did you ever see the meme of the polar bear?
Listen to the episode about old money to get any of this, by the way.
Did you ever see the meme of the polar bear with the tube?
Polar bear with the tube?
That was one of my favourite memes for a while, because it was just a pure expression of joy from the polar bear.
Okay, we're going to look up polar bear with tube.
If you want to dirty your next note, and I'll look up polar bear with tube.
Okay, sure.
If you want to play along at home, just search polar bear tube, and it should get you to the right spot.
Now, Burns is told, basically there's an investigation into the plant, and he is told that he needs to hire at least one woman.
Sure.
So he proceeds to hire one woman.
Yes.
Have things changed at all since this? Do we think?
I don't know. I mean, women in STEM is, it's an area that the STEM community appears to be working on, and I hope they're making inroads. And depending on which part of Twitter I follow on any given day, they either are or are not.
Yeah.
But I think there are still lots of places throughout the world in which a duck will be hired preferentially over a woman.
One thing that I'm seeing a lot of discussion of lately is the idea that these large companies are hiring for diversity rather than equality. So it will
Sure.
be about, like filling these fairly small quotas and, it's only the quotas they have to fill, they're not going to be, looking at actually getting like a multicultural, multi-gendered workforce. It's, it's interesting. But, they have to hire one woman. So they do. Oh, what have we got here? Is this the polar bear?
Google image search has become...
Got my tube. Tube. Okay, so is this a polar bear with a tube?
Got my tube! Tube!
Ah, he's a nice bear. He's got a tube stuck to his head.
I just enjoy the joy of his arms here. It's just like, whee! That's great.
Huh.
Also, clickbait headline over here. British company offering employees days off to masturbate.
Oh, okay.
What?
Working from home. Not even going to finish that anecdote. Anecdote is a strong word for whatever that could have been.
That's an IKEA anecdote. You just gave them the parts and told them to finish the job themselves.
God damn it. Okay.
So Homer hallucinates and goes into a trout hatchery.
Yes.
My question, what's she been up to since Desperate Housewives?
Trout hatchery.
Yeah,
I get it. It's a Terry Hatcher joke.
It's a Terry Hatcher joke.
Yeah.
They're real and they're spectacular.
So we get Michelle Pfeiffer playing Mindy.
Sure.
Mindy, who came and brought me a turkey. Anyway, Mindy, great character. Love her. Great piece of design.
Yes.
The weird, Simpsons version of sexy that,
Yes.
we recognize as being sexy because of how the Simpsons abstraction art works.
Yes.
Very good. Now, my question
Sure.
about this, the trout hatchery and Desperate Housewives and all of that.
Yep.
Have you ever had a crush so intense it made you hallucinate?
Interesting question. I've definitely had breakups where I was walking around shopping centres and thought that I was repeatedly seeing them in places.
Yeah.
But they weren't there. It was just me imagining it. I don't think I've had a hallucinatory crush, no.
Because my thinking in these scenes...
Have you ever had a glass of orange crush cordial so strong that you hallucinated?
It was all syrup.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. My thinking during this sequence where Homer, is worrying that he's hallucinating because he has such a crush on Mindy, it's not a thing that happens though, right?
I don't think it's a thing that happens.
No, that's not how anyone reacts.
I think the problem they've done is they've phrased it as a hallucination rather than as a daydream.
Yeah, a fantasy.
Fantasy, the thing, or Daydream, the Mariah Carey album. Fuck, I completely...
Fantasy Star Online. Go with a P.
Yes, I got too caught up in making that shit joke that I completely froze. Those are all good things, but they're not hallucinations. They're different things.
Yes. Yes, indeed. And Homer... We get a scene of Homer leaving work, and he throws a box of pens into the back of his car. He says, another day, a box of stolen pens.
Yes.
Now,
several of these pens had exploded, and there was pools and puddles of ink on his cushions.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I did.
That's a neat little detail.
It was fun.
The point is, at my work, my share office was recently semi-converted into... is also the stationery room.
Oh, God.
So, fill in the blanks.
Yep.
With the pens you may or may not have acquired recently.
So, wait, this goes back to the masturbation thing, right?
Very into pen work. Pen work? Not Teller, though.
Very good.
Yeah,
very good.
It's something. Bart becomes a nerd in this episode.
He does.
He gets some big glasses. He gets some shit in his hair. He gets the big shoes. Big shoes to fill.
Big shoes to fill. Big shoes to fill.
Big shoes to fill. Big shoes to fill. He fills the big shoes.
Yeah, he fills the big shoes. Sorry.
You're only supposed to blow the bloody shoes off.
You're only supposed to blow the bloody shoes off.
God damn it, neither of us sound like Michael Caine anymore. We have lost it so completely at this point.
This podcast is so silly sometimes, James.
We gotta work on our Canes, but not on air. We gotta go and... We gotta put the work in.
Are you talking about the masturbation story again?
We're gonna put the work in.
Gotta go work on our canes.
Now, when Homer is in Moe's Tavern, and he says, I got this friend, His name is Joey Jojo Jr. Shabadoo.
Yes.
Now, let's forget about the whole Joey Jojo. That's a good scene, but let's forget about that for a moment. I want to focus on Barney's shocked expression when Homer starts speaking. Did you notice that in this scene? When Homer starts speaking, he says, I've got this friend who's got a problem. Barney turns to him with the most aghast look on his face. He looks shook. Like something has happened. And I can't quite piece together what is going on here.
Is he astonished that Homer has a friend?
It just seems like Barney has seen through the veil here and fully understands the horror of his own existence within a cartoon.
Well, that was more bold than I was
It's
expecting.
the only way to possibly interpret this look.
Is that the only way?
Yeah, he look, you need to go back and watch. Listeners, go to Frankiac and type in Joey Jojo. That should be enough. And just look at the expression on Barney's face when Homer is talking. Because it is the face of a man who has witnessed the devil.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Speaking of...
If you have any theories about why that might be, feel free to write in podsinthekeyofspringfield@gmail.com.
Speaking of the devil and general hellishness,
Yep.
Was this your first exposure to the Barry Manilow song Mandy?
It might be my only experience with the Barry Manilow song. Barry Manilow.
Very good. I didn't know that this was oh Margie, you came and you found me. I didn't realize that this was a reference to a Barry Manilow song until 2002, when...
Sorry, 2002 is a really long time ago. You just framed that like it was going to be like last week.
Until 2002,
Yep.
when Tom and Travis from Blink-182 did their side project Boxcar Racer, and I had a live bootleg recording, and they, in the middle of the set, they play a song called Mandy, and I was like, what the fuck? This isn't on the album. And I went looking, and then I was like, wait, this sounds like that thing from The Simpsons. And then I went Googling the lyrics and found it was actually a Barry Manilow song.
Didn't you recently promise on Twitter that you were going to hijack this podcast and turn it into a Blink-182 fan podcast?
That's because the boys over at Blink-155 said that they were going to stop.
Okay.
And they've only got 72 songs through the list of 155 that they have to do. So I was going to hijack this and we'd finish the rest of them.
Look, I'm not a fan of the concept of hijacking this podcast, although I am wondering, the woman who was saying 119, who lived on the same street as Dougie Jones in the new season of Twin Peaks, what do you think her deal was? Okay, that is... okay, you're doing like a little face and you made that noise and you're obviously making a reference to the woman with the blue rose from Fire Walk With Me, who makes a noise like that while wearing the rose, but, Chester Desmond doesn't find out what the rose is all about.
Chester Desmond,
Yeah.
rest in peace, Linkin Park.
Chester Desmond, who of course does disappear. Is his name Chester? What year is this? This has been Sneaky Peeks.
You're like the dreamer. Dreams, and then lives inside the dream.
Sneaky Peeks.
That's what we needed in this podcast. It's already gone too long. Sneaky Peeks and Boxcar Racer chat.
Everything's fine.
Yeah, I know.
So we find out that Mindy, she loves drinking beer.
What?
She loves watching TV. She loves napping. Now this, Nick, this is crazy because these are not the typical things you would think that a woman would be into.
How fascinating.
So subversive and clever.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. It's a little sweaty. A little sweaty app.
A little sweaty.
I really like this episode, but it's a little sweaty.
Yeah, it is a bit. Is there a name for that trope? Like, is there a manic pixie dream girl, but for pretzel, beer, and football woman?
That's a good question.
I mean, maybe it's pretzel, beer, and football woman. Maybe I just clocked it without even trying.
You might have.
All right. So yeah, it is a little concerning that that Mindy apes so heavily on the trope of pretzel, beer, football woman. I've already forgotten the order.
I do really enjoy the scene of them in the elevator together.
How small is the elevator?
Very small elevator, where they start breaking into little entendres. I guess we'll be going down together. I mean, getting off together. I mean, that's how we start our podcast as well.
I reckon I only got that joke maybe 3 years ago.
When you push the button on the stimulator.
The entendres went over my head when I was younger.
And he pushes the emergency exit and slides down the big thing outside the power plant. What do you call one of those things?
The cooling tower.
The cooling tower.
Yeah.
Where you march day and night.
Yes.
Because even though they have the plant, you have the power.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. Wonderful bit of nonsense because the elevator doesn't go up and down the cooling tower.
Yeah.
No.
No. What I really enjoy this thing where Homer returns home and he's like, my family. I love my family, baby. I'll remember that when I get here. And he comes in, of course, Bart's a terrible nerd now.
Yep.
And then Marge is, like, sick and wearing this misprinted t-shirt. And then Lisa, who's, like, not really in the episode much, just pops up and she's like, hey, I've, like, burnt these fish sticks in a weird way. And it's such a weird little character beat.
Yeah.
Like, they're burnt on the outside but frozen on the inside. It's like, what is this?
Yeah, there's a very, very desperate attempt to crowbar Lisa in.
It's like,
like
Marge is, like, sick and, like, you know, not sexy and, you know, like, having a hard time. And then Bart's this weird nerd. And then Lisa's just, like, done something adorable.
Yeah. and then Lisa's just adorably inept at the kitchen. Like, you know, an 8-year-old girl should be.
Yeah, like an 8-year-old who was even attempted. Like, that's a cute little thing that's happened.
Yeah, totally. Oh, man. And it's also fish sticks, or as I would say, fish fingers, a food that Homer has not previously shown any like for. Like if she'd burnt
The pork chops,
or you know something that
Homer, not the frosty chocolate milkshakes.
Something that Homer had an
affinity for.
Yeah. Thank you, James. Then at least then there'd be a little bit of like, you little fucker, you burnt my fucking chops.
Man, that would be a real tone twist.
That'd be a hell of a turn.
You little fuck. So the Simpsons sit down and they're watching the news, and there's a news story about how maybe some presidents have become great men by having secret affairs. Do you notice this? Did you notice that the Simpsons predicted Bill Clinton's affair?
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, there's a line in here about the possibility that Clinton's affair has made him one of the great presidents.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, and when was the Lewinsky scandal? Like 97, 98?
97, 98. That's what. Yeah. I would have said 98.
Yeah. So someone knew.
Or do you reckon Clinton maybe thought that The Simpsons is a documentary, and
events were occurring in real time?
No, he saw this episode and just like, I can't do a Clinton.
I gotta have an affair.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I used to be able to do a good Clinton.
But was it just to say I did not have sexual
relations?
No,
it's because like, I was at a quiz night recently, and there was a question about like one of the questions is always like, who said this? Was it like a president or was it Peter Griffin from Family Guy?
Okay, sure.
And there was this one about like somebody had said something about a mummy being sexy, and it was Clinton. So the whole night I was just imagining Clinton fucking different monsters. It's like, I'd like to have sex with that mummy. I can't do it now, but that is a sexy wolf, man.
That's good. Yeah. No, I like it. Predicting.
Yeah.
Simpsons predicting the future.
So, God, I've still got a full page of notes. We've been going forever, so I'm going to try to maybe rush through some of these. You can rush through some of your notes. Well, you actually wrote notes for this one. You've got quite a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 notes. I get so much pleasure out of Homer hallucinating Colonel Klink when he passes out, despite having never seen Hogan's Heroes.
See, this is, I mean, it doesn't resonate for me because I have no touch point for who Colonel Klink is, but I'm glad that you find so much joy in it.
I just find it really funny that he kind of knows that he's in a dream sequence, and he knows that this is just a figure that he is imagining to look like Colonel Klink, and yet he keeps addressing him as the character from the show.
Yes.
That is the bit that I find, and the eventual payoff where he tells him about the guy having the radio in the coffee pot or whatever, really works for me.
I've always enjoyed the logic loop, though, of Homer imagining Isaac Newton and then not knowing who Isaac Newton is.
Yeah, it's great.
But imagining a perfectly serviceable recreation of him and then saying, I don't know who you are.
So Colonel Klink appears and gives him the the Muppets Christmas Carol version of what life would be like if he'd married Mindy instead.
Yes.
And everything's good for everyone. Marge is the president. Do you think Marge would be a good president?
Now,
Yes.
what is the dialogue in that scene? Because we only see the White House from the outside.
You hear one of her aides say, "Your approval ratings are through the roof, ma'am." And she goes,
Is it possible? Is it possible
Yep.
that that's not Marge being president? That's Marge having an affair with President Clinton.
Oh my god. You fucking cracked it.
Is it possible that she's fucking Bill? And that's not a part. That's not a presidential aide. That's in fact him saying your approval ratings are through the roof.
It sounds nothing like him, but it's a possibility.
It's a possibility. Well, it would have been. It may have been too obvious
Oh
if
my
they.
god, The Simpsons was really ahead of the curve on this one.
I think that's in there as a genuine Easter egg for anyone paying attention.
I mean, I'd like to believe that Marge is just the president, I suppose, but, you know, in this sort of twisty egg flip universe that we've been positing.
Yes. And, you know, I hope it doesn't say anything horrible about me that I hear a woman's voice emanating from the White House and assume that that woman is not the president. But, you know...
You are wearing your "A Woman Can Never Be President" shirt right now. You're not. It's got Super Mario Kart on it. It's very fun and nice.
Thank you.
And you reverse it and it says, "This is what a feminist looks like." You don't have that shirt. That would be performative.
That would be performative. Yes.
It's a good shirt.
Yeah, I really like this shirt.
Yeah. The bullies in this episode are really, like, going hog wild on Bart.
Hog-wild?
They're really beating the shit out of him.
Hog wild.
Every time you see the bullies going for Bart, it is just a rain of fists landing
Yes.
blow after blow upon his young, weak body.
Yes, rain of fists.
There's a line later on in the episode where one of them says something along the lines of, "We've been working Bart's upper body pretty hard. Today, let's pound his kidneys."
Yeah.
Which, you know, kind of made me feel like a beer, but it's also just a very visceral line about assaulting a child.
I feel like the bullies are mean.
Yeah, to me, they're not so good.
To me, violence is not a solution.
Not a solution.
No.
Ooh. Well, that's
It's more of a suspension because the solids are floating in liquid.
Okay, good. I'm glad you clarified.
Yes.
Yes.
That's an unnecessary chemistry joke for anyone playing along at home.
So Bart's getting the shit beaten out of him by these bullies. He gets pulled into this...
The poop beaten out of him. Thank you, James.
So he's getting the ever-c***ing shit beaten out of him. Not usually a word I would use, but for the sake of that joke, I think it was worth it.
So far, you've used that word twice, and they've both been about Trump.
Yeah. Yeah, but for the sake of a joke, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So he gets pulled in.
Oh, trust me, James. The US president is a joke.
Nick, I don't want to get so political on this podcast.
Satire.
Nick, I really think we need to try to appeal to both sides. I think that's the only way we can connect.
On both sides.
Yeah.
I can't do a Trump.
Although,
Bad people on both sides. That's a terrible Trump. I'm not even sure what that is.
if he just squealed like a pig rolling his own shit, that would sound more like Trump.
Oh, I had a business idea the other day. I'm going to change my name to Mark. I'm going to then start hiring out pop-up tents for functions, and I'll be Marquee Mark. And then I will have a side business where you can get
Your keys cut?
decorative icebergs to hang on the wall, and they'll be Marquee Mark's Wahlbergs.
I think you're going to go with Marky Mark's key cutters.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Because I don't understand that joke.
Okay, well, you know, Mark Key. Mark Key.
I see.
Okay. Yeah, but Marky Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was very good in The Departed.
The Departed.
Yeah, exactly. Shipping out to Boston.
Dun, dun, dun,
Okay. So Bart gets pulled into this little thing by these nerds. This little secret society of nerds.
We're only at this point of the episode.
How are there two different secret societies of nerds operating within Springfield?
What's the first one?
Well, in the next season, we're going to get the Super Friends,
Oh, shit, yeah.
which I guess is not a secret society so much.
No.
But we have two separate groups.
Two separate sects.
Yeah. We've got the whatever these guys are.
Oh, the fucking Excelsior nerds.
Yeah, Excelsior, R.I.P. Stanley, by the way.
Jesus. I set myself up there, didn't I? Yeah, those nerds.
That's in my notes.
Those nerds that say that word, that's a very timely word for people who liked a beloved person.
It won't be quite so timely once this episode comes out, but
True.
yeah. That was sad, though. Anyway, yeah, I was curious about that.
Sure.
Then we get the guy with the giant hand, and that's a good time. He's got a big old hand.
Oh, the guy writing
He's
the
got
note.
notes on the big hand.
Love it.
To me, that's real humor. A
Yeah.
guy with a big hand. What's funnier than that?
Yeah.
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 Good stuff.
Yeah.
Is Capital City meant to be a combination of Chicago and New York?
That's what the nicknames would have you believe.
Yes, as Mindy calls it, the Windy Apple.
I don't know anything
You
about...
haven't figured it out by now. I'm talking about Chi-Town.
I don't know what.
Never mind.
I don't know anything about American geography. Is Chicago and New York is one west, one east?
I don't think so, but I also know nothing.
Yeah,
And am an idiot.
because
A geography idiot.
It would make a degree of sense if they were blending opposite sides of the country, but I don't think they are.
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. But then, if anyone would like to write in and maybe direct us towards a map,
Yeah,
yeah.
If anyone wants to send us a map, just send it to 555. Go fuck yourself.
Yes.
I enjoy that when Homer and Mindy are having all the room service in bed, they say that one of the turkeys fell behind the bed.
Does that imply they've already eaten a full turkey?
They've ordered a lot of food. If they can have one of the turkeys, implying that there were at least 2, perhaps more.
Probably 4.
Probably 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've consumed 3 of them then.
And then they both spot that giant chili dog at
Yeah.
the same time, like they'd forgotten about the chili dog.
Yeah.
What the hell happened to my dogs?
The hell happened to my dogs?
Yeah.
And then, of course, Chili Dog, Sonic the Hedgehog, they fucking.
Yeah. Everybody fucking.
Yeah.
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 But they don't be fucking.
Well-
That's the twist of the episode.
I mean,
They don't be fucking. We know Clinton be fucking, but...
to be fair,
be fair.
we only see Homer and Mindy have a long chat about whether or not they should be fucking.
Yeah.
And then later we see that Marge is there.
That's true.
It would have taken some travel time for Marge to get there. There's probably still a night in which Homer and Mindy could be fucking.
Huh. Yeah, I'm unclear on the time frame here because I always thought, that night they don't do it, and then Homer and Marge come back separately, but I guess that doesn't make sense. I guess it would make more sense for Marge to come.
Because the turkey's still there.
Yeah, I figured the turkey was just there for a long time. I don't know.
What kind of hotel do you think's leaving rotting turkey carcasses
Well, a
behind
turkey
it?
that's going to hire this, weirdo busboy who makes all the noises and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I do think, there's a few things I want to say about the last act. I'm going to try to get through these notes quickly, because I think they're all good notes. They're relevant notes to the things. The bit where Bart kicks the shoes off his feet and they fly through the window.
Oh, that is good.
And Flanders asks if either of the kids prayed for giant shoes. I think that might be a perfect joke.
It is good.
It's just so specific and weird and funny and plays to those characters, and just Ned just looking up is like, oh, this must be an object of prayer.
Yes, this is a thing which I would just absorb into my daily life.
And then it just pays off. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Perfect
Excellent.
joke.
Big shoes.
Yeah, big shoes to fill. Congratulations, writer of that joke. Your check is in the mail. When we get the energy convention, we see Mole Man promoting solar energy. He is beaten by the fossil fuel industry, who then
Yes.
replace his stand.
joke
Extremely relevant at all times.
A joke that 30 years later still makes every part as much sense.
Yeah, now that the world is legitimately on the brink of collapse, largely because of the fossil fuels industry, yeah,
Yep.
it seems likely they would kill Hans Mole Man.
Ironic that their slogan is "Use us and nobody gets hurt," because it turns out everyone will get hurt.
Something I've never really thought about with this episode, even though it is part of the big joke of the last few minutes of this episode, is how absolutely ridiculous it is that Homer and Mindy win the prize of King and Queen of Energy.
Yeah, what is
and
up
are
with
sent to
that?
a sexy Chinese restaurant for a couple's dinner.
Madam Chow's,
None of that makes any sense.
the sexiest Chinese restaurant in capital city.
It's such a
And then,
dumb, sweaty piece of exposition, and it works so well.
When they get to the Chinese restaurant, there's nothing particularly sexy about it. It's just a stupid line to exacerbate Homer's fears.
And moments before, Homer has thrown a brick at somebody, presumably killing them.
Oh, absolutely hocked a brick at that guy.
Yeah. It's just like, I guess, I don't know, having seen these episodes so many times, like, some of the things that are obviously extraordinarily silly have just, like, settled with me. Like, oh, that's just what happens in the episode.
Here's a payoff to a callback I never thought we'd get. Do you think Homer hocking a brick is a direct reference to Ignatz, the mouse that keeps throwing bricks at Crazy Cat in that cartoon that I keep showing you for some reason?
God, how could it not be?
Yeah, right? It's a clear line. Clear lineage.
That Ignatz, what a motherfucker. I like that the ending of this episode is actually kind of like mature and complicated, and a very good example, I think, of why The Simpsons is good.
Yes.
Yes.
It's good.
It's a lovely ending. Just the, actually dealing with, like, the complications of Homer considering having an affair.
Yeah.
Without just brushing it aside of him, like, saying, well, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Because I love my family too much. Like, there's not, like, a clear moral resolution. Like, this is something that actually weighs on the characters. And it's good.
It's a work in progress in Homer's mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good, great episode of animated sitcom The Simpsons.
Yes.
A TV show that I quite like.
Sure, it's fine.
Yeah. It'll do.
It'll do.
Yeah. Christ, we've gone on for a while here.
Oh my gosh.
It's been a while. It's because of the sting we're going to put on the end here, which is a solid 10 minutes of talk about.
Even then, it's been, that's probably, I don't know.
Yeah.
It feels like it's been a long recording.
Well, thank you for listening to us, your friends James and Nick.
That's
talking
us.
about The Simpsons, the TV show that you remember from the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can find us on Twitter at Keith Springfield. We're on Facebook. Just search for our name. You can email us at podsinthekeithspringfield@gmail.com for any reason, really.
Yeah.
You want to say hello? You want to, send us some fan mail? And maybe we'll respond to it. Who knows? Who can say?
Simply who knows.
Yeah. So we're on the A Lot of Green network. There's what are you looking at behind me? There's somebody coming up the stairs, is there?
No, it's fine. I'm just going to get something for the outro.
Jesus, okay. Nick is going to get something for the outro, so look forward to whatever this is going to be. I have been James. He has been Nick. Woozer Wuzzle.
Oh, Margie, you came and you found me a turkey on my vacation away from worky. I think we should at least get to the chorus. This is great. And now you're a lawyer. I'll have you baby old melody. Well, that's worse quality than I remember.
In Springfield. Apparently the absolute latest episode of The Simpsons, because The Simpsons is still going, it's still a TV show. Apparently the latest episode, pretty good.
Really?
That's what I hear.
That's astonishing.
Yeah, it's got RuPaul in it, and it's got, as I understand it, the plotline is about Marge getting mistaken for a drag queen and sort of rolling with it, and then eventually, like, the plot becomes about her reappropriating another group's culture and, sort of realizing that's a bad thing. It sounds interesting.
That does sound interesting.
Yeah.
RuPaul from the eponymous Drag Race.
Yes. It's not, their usual plotline, like, I don't know, Bart poops in somebody's laundry or something, and, they have to deal with it, or, I don't know, Lisa's favourite TV show is cancelled and she just mopes, which I assume is what's happening now.
What was Lisa's favourite TV show?
It was Louis, with Louis C.K.
Really? I didn't pick Lisa as a Louis-man.
Yeah, well, after everything that happened, she's off that wagon.
Well, of course
yeah.
she's off the wagon.
Yeah.
She's only 8 years old. She couldn't have been on the wagon.
No. No, she doesn't have her wagon license yet. She can't drive the wagon, nor can she be on the wagon.
It's interesting that you need a license to be a passenger.
Yeah, well, I'm just like broadening out like the possibilities of this joke in my head and thinking every road is leading nowhere on this wagon chatter. And it's my fault. I brought up the wagons.
It's unfortunate when you're on a wagon and all the roads lead nowhere. How are you going to get to any of your destinations?
Look, the wheels have just totally come off at this point. That's the issue.
Man, I wish I had a pack of wagon wheels.
Oh, that would be good.
I would eat most of them.
Literally anything with like some sort of chocolatey, sugary element. Like I say I've been trying to eat healthy. I haven't really. I've just been trying to eat less unhealthy.
Have you done the thing that I do? And I believe this is actually like a recognized phenomenon, and it probably has a name that I should know. But it's something along the lines of you tell yourself you're going to eat more healthy, and by doing that, you've given yourself like a good behavior cachet, and you then go, well, of course I can have this king-size Mars bar.
Yeah.
I'm eating healthy. It'll work itself out.
I mean, if I start heroin now, then my healthy eating is going to even it out.
I'm not sure if you entirely understand the premise of what I was saying. I think they're different things. Twix and heroin are different.
Are they?
They're both similarly addictive and will ruin your life.
Oh.
And I believe Keith Richards has done lots of both.
That would surprise me.
But I think they are fundamentally different and operate in a fundamentally different way.
Yeah.
I think they get different pleasure centers of your brain.
Okay, so God, I really feel like a Twix now.
Yeah, right.
Or like a Snickers. I could really go at Snickers.
All I can do is show you towards my injecting room.
To get my insulin shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting that you would put Snickers up there with Twix. That's
I put Snickers above Twix.
above.
Above.
See, for me,
Snickers is like my top bar, I think.
yeah, right.
You hear somebody beeping outside, they agree.
For me, Twix is definitely the top. Snickers is top 5,
Okay.
but yeah, Twix is definitely the top.
Are we looking like across all manufacturers as well?
Yes.
Yeah?
Like
Good.
if I'm looking purely at which bar will
Yeah.
I purchase,
Okay.
there's a 2-factor test. First factor is which one's on special.
Yes, of course.
Of course. But if
Really the only thing.
if
hopefully.
money wasn't an object, it'd be Twix. I feel like we talked about this in a very recent episode.
I think we did.
of
I
Podcast.
don't think we quite went to this level of detail.
Right,
I think
okay.
people are probably hungry for the truth.
I'm not sure that that's the case. But no, I guess my top 5 would be Twix flying in at number 1.
Okay.
The caramel Kit Kat Chunky is a solid number 2.
Yeah.
Weirdly, standard 4-finger Kit Kats do not even make the top 5.
No, I wouldn't think so.
The chunks are up there at number 2, specifically the caramel
The
chunk.
caramel chunk.
The caramel chunk. Then it's probably Snickers in at 3.
Yeah.
What's going to be 4? I feel a bit, because I'm the type of person that I am, I want to pick something really niche and obscure and put it in as my number 4.
I don't know,
But
I've
I know
only-
that really that's not actually me being honest. It's just me trying to get cred.
I've only really got a top 3, so I don't know if I could. I don't think I could stretch out to a top 5. I think I'm comfortable in my top 3, and beyond that, it gets pretty nebulous.
Nebulous. Excellent. As in, it was once a star that exploded.
Yeah, exactly. So Milky Way is my favorite, I guess. No, Milky Way is nobody's favorite.
No, because it's the least good part of the Mars bar with none of the caramel.
It's like the thing you give to a child that you don't want to have. You want them to have a lot of sugar, but you don't want them to die.
Oh,
I guess.
I guess.
I feel like it's a smaller bar typically, like a less weight to it.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
My top 3, right on top, number 1 with a bullet, I'm going Snickers. I'm putting Snickers right up there.
Right up there.
I think it's, the caramel, the nougat, the nuts. I love a good nut-related bar.
I've just thought of numbers 4 and 5 in my list, but we'll keep going through your top 3.
Number 2,
Yes.
maybe this will seem like an outside choice to you, but my number 2 is the picnic.
It's funny you should say that because the picnic is
Yeah.
my number 5.
I love it. I'm big on the picnic. It's got that wafery goodness.
You
It's got that
really-
harder caramel.
You really do enjoy a nut-style bar, don't you?
And then number 3, this is something I've come around to recently. My number 3 is the standard Kit Kat Chunky.
Standard Kit Kat Chunky.
Because
Right.
the thing is, I feel like less of a piece of shit eating one than I do eating the caramel.
Sure. It is funny that the Kit Kat Chunky is miles and away better than a Kit Kat, though.
Far and away. The Kit Kat is good in, like, the snack variants, like the little ones.
Oh, sure. Like
Yeah.
the ones you'd get in a mix.
Yeah, the
mix
one,
box.
how they say, have a break, have a Kit Kat, when it
Yes.
really is just like a fun little novelty.
Sure.
That's the ideal form of the Kit Kat.
I think, and I'm not checking this, I've just noted down our top, well, it's currently our top 7, with
Sure.
my 4 and your 3.
I think Twix is probably number 5, and I haven't figured out number 4 yet.
see-
I don't know.
My number 4, Mint Aero.
Mint Arrow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an outside choice.
I know.
That's a bold pick.
Yeah, initially I thought I was going to be obvious and put Mars in, but I don't actually enjoy eating Mars.
No?
You get half to 2/3 of the way through it, and you go, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Fuck this.
Mars is more of a mood, more of an aesthetic than a pleasant chocolate bar.
Work, rest, and play, big mood. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
God, remember when, I think I've brought this up as well, but their tagline used to be,
Work, rest, and
a
play.
Mars a day helps you work, rest, and play. Like, you cannot encourage somebody to eat a Mars bar every day. That's,
And you cannot say it helps them rest.
no.
Okay, so I am
Unless
Twix.
they literally go into a coma.
I suppose so. Twix, Caramel, Kit Kat Chunky, Snickers, Mint Aero, Picnic.
Yep.
You are Snickers, Picnic, Kit Kat Chunky, blank, Twix.
Yeah, I think my number 4.
Yeah.
You know the variant of the Boost bar they do that has nuts in it?
Oh, yeah.
I think that might be my number 4, but it's like a limited time sort of thing. It comes and goes.
The nut
It's
boost.
in season right now. I don't know if it's going to go away again.
Okay, Boost Nut. Well, that's thrown in interesting... No, I think, actually, apart from the Snickers, our top 5s are entirely Nestle. That's interesting. Snickers is a Mars one.
No, Picnic is a Cadbury.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's in the,
So is the
that's in the
Boost.
Cadbury show bag. Oh, well, fuck you. Oh, well, okay. I thought I was onto an interesting stat there, and then there were so many...
And Twix is from the Mars Company.
Oh, is it?
Only the Kit Kats are Nestle. And maybe the Arrow.
I could have sworn that Twix was...
I think they might... Maybe they come from the same manufacturer in Australia because they
I can't-
definitely often get discounted at the same time.
I can't imagine Twix being in the Cadbury show bag, which is what I was basing that
Why
on.
is the show bag? The show bag's just the items they have left over.
No. But you wouldn't get a Nestle bar in the Cadbury show bag.
No.
That's my theory there.
Okay.
But you're right. Twix is made by Mars. Damn.
Okay. So the show... You're talking about the Adelaide show? The show bags you get there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, show bags. Also, show bag is a wonderful insult that I keep forgetting to use.
Okay.
I found out that there are some people in Australia, because, whatever, look it up. But showbag is meant to is an insult some people use for someone who looks all slick and glossy on the outside, but actually they're full of shit.
Oh, that's pretty good.
I really enjoy it. It's like, oh, have you seen Gary? It was a bit of a showbag.
Yeah, it looks like he's got one of those giant inflatable hammers inside him.
Episode 51 of Pods.
No, this has been Chocks in the Key of Springfield.
Oh,
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
All right, Chocks in the Key of Springfield.
God, that was nearly 10 minutes. Should I cut that out and make it his own fucking episode? What was that?
That was 10 kilos ago.